Welcome back! Happy Monday! It's a whole new week, a whole nother day for us to do better in our lives. Isn't that how everyone wakes up Monday morning? Excited to seize the day? Well, you should. Because let me throw it at you this way. You woke up this morning. Someone else didn't. Enough said? I wanted to start the video on a little positive note, some energy, because this is probably going to be more of a boring one. We're going to talk some serious numbers. A lot of people might have to tune out for a second. You might have to come back and watch this in parts. But I'm going to do the best I can to answer this one question that I get asked probably more than any other question I get asked. And that is, Alex, when do I sell? When do I sell my investments? Do you look for a certain time frame? Do you look for a certain percentage gain, a certain dollar gain? When do you sell your investments? And I thought about this a lot, and I said, you know what? I can make this video without giving specifics. And after watching this video, you're going to be able to make all the same decisions that I do for yourself without me actually telling you, buy this item now or sell this item now and move that money to this item. You'll be able to do all that yourself after this video. All right? So, first off, we need to talk about there is no time period I look to hold. A lot of times you hear people throw out 5 to 10 years. I'm going to hold at least 5 to 10 years and then I'll sell. Or some people will say, I'm never going to sell. I'm going to hold as long as it takes until I need the money or, I retire or I'll take it to the grave with me. I don't know. But most likely every single person watching this video is going to come the time to sell something at some point in this hobby. Okay? For me, I don't like time frames. I don't like to create these rules and structures and put myself in a box because here's the thing. There's no telling what the market's going to do. And so the time frames don't really mean anything, right? I sold One Piece Romance Dawn this year after buying it only a year ago because the gains were that exponential, right? I had visions of holding Evolution's booster boxes a lot longer than I did. Then what happened? 2020 came and they spiked all the way up to $1,000, so I started to sell them, right? And these types of things are going to continue to happen, so you can't plan on them. And so having these time frames in place, it doesn't make sense to me. Now, percentage gain wise, a lot of people think that it's a percentage gain play. Alex, what percentage gain do you look for before you start selling items? It's not a percentage gain thing for me either. Just to be honest with you, I don't look for certain percentage gains, right? I let each item stand on its own, and I make my decisions based off what the market conditions tell me. All right, so I just wanted to get those two things out of the way to kind of squash all those conversations that I always get asked. All right, I don't have time frames. I don't have percentage gain frames. All right, I don't like to put myself into boxes. I like to remain fluid and make the best decision for each product. So, what do I mean by that? I think this is January. It's a good time to talk about this. In January, it's a good time to kind of audit your life, right? Right? Maybe cut people out that aren't good for you. Maybe change things in your life that you're not doing right. Start dieting, start exercising, start doing things differently. Audit your investments, audit your collections. Going through them and saying, I no longer feel the same way about this. I don't like it anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. Or I no longer believe in this product or this investment. I don't think it's going to perform the way I thought it would. It hasn't performed the way I thought it would. I think it's time to dump it. Or this is performing great. This is exactly what I was hoping for. I think it's going to keep going. I'm going to hold it. Or even better, these are still at great prices and I still believe in them even more than I did before. I'm going to add to that position, right? And so those are the things you need to be doing at the beginning of the year. But that's what I do on each individual product and make the decision based on that. And so a lot of the times it's based on these invisible glass ceilings in Pokemon. And what I'm talking about is one, there is a modern booster box invisible glass ceiling that is true for about, I would say, at least 80+% of the boxes in modern times. And that is the fact that modern boxes usually start to tap out and stagnate and maybe trend upwards slowly around $500 to $600 a box. So if you look back at X, Y, and Sun and Moon, okay, you can see what I'm talking about. Now, you're going to get a warped view if you look back all the way at X, Y, because here's the thing. If you're not familiar with the history, the early part of XY is going to perform a lot more like mid-era. That was before the mainstream popularity came back into Pokemon in 2015 with Pokemon Go cell phone game. It's before Evolutions was released in 2016. It's before Pokemon started to up the print runs and reprint those sets. And so, sets like XY Base, Flash Fire, Phantom Forces, Furious Fist, and those things, they're going to perform more like Black and White in mid-era because they didn't see reprints, they saw much lower print runs, and the popularity in Pokemon wasn't there. So when the popularity returned, those boxes got bought up very quickly, the prices rose very quickly, and that's why they're so high in the thousands. But going forward from there, right, you really only have two sets. You have Ancient Origins and Evolutions are the only real sets in XY, other than the early ones, that really broke out of that $500-$600 price points. Okay, you know, the Fates Collide, the Steam Siege, the Breakpoint Breakthroughs, the Roaring Skies and Primal Clash, which got reprints, right? They're all in that price range. Go to Sun and Moon, same thing. You got your team ups, you got your Cosmic Eclipse, and you may have a few others now that are starting to trickle above that 600s, but most are in the $500 to $600 range or less, right? We saw the tag team sets blip above it, but even Unbroken Bonds, Unified Minds are back in those $600, $500 ranges. And it just seems that those are the unofficial glass ceilings where modern boxes sort to stagnate out. And so, if you're asking, that's usually what I look for. Those are the times where I really look to start moving out of positions because the gains are going to be less exponential after that on average, right? You're going to have your Sun and Moons, you're going to have or your team ups, you're going to have other things on average. We're working on averages here, guys. We're not working on outliers when we talk about investing. We're not trying to hit home runs. We're trying to hit a million singles and doubles, okay? So on average, that's where your investments are going to stagnate out. Now, if you want to hold on to Evolving Skies long term, it could. It could be the next team up, Flashfire. I get that. Most other boxes won't, right? So that's what I look for price point wise. The other reason I do that is there's another unofficial glass ceiling when it comes to consumers. Consumers don't like to pay more than high hundreds or thousands of dollars for anything in Pokemon, whether it be boxes or slabs. Your buyer pool goes way down. A lot of those items are very illiquid, meaning it's hard to transact them. It's hard to sell them, right? And so because of that, a lot of those items are going to sit longer. It's going to take you a lot longer to realize your money on those. And I don't like to be in illiquid items, okay? So that's another reason why I like to get out before the price of those items get there, is because I don't want to have to deal with all of that. And this is not for boxes, this goes for slabs as well, anything, right? When they start to get higher, there's less and less buyers that, one, can afford those, and two, that want to afford those, and it becomes a lot less more of impulse and buys. It becomes a lot more strategic, well thought out buys for that person to actually pull the trigger. And I just don't like to deal with all that. Fair? So, now we get into, well, Alex, so can you talk some specifics here? Absolutely, I told you I would. I'm being as transparent as possible and trying to help everyone out there. So, you buy into the brand new set, which you can still do right now, right? A lot of the brand new sets get down to $90 these days. You can get cases for $540 a lot of the time. Sometimes they're higher depending on where you buy, but for the sake of argument, we're going to say $90, all right? You buy Paradox Rift, right, for $90. I said I wasn't going to talk specifics. All right, no specific set. You buy set X for $90. You buy a case, all right? Costs you $90 a piece, $540 for the case. All right, you hold it for 3, 4, 5 years, and it goes up to $300. Okay, and so you're like, great, I made 200+% gain. It's in my time frame I was wanting. If you wanted time frame, is it time to sell? Maybe. When people go to sell, they forget things. Unless you are driving around town, okay, and you're wheeling and dealing, selling things in person, which can't really scale well and takes a lot of time and energy to do those things and have those meetups, takes time away from your life. So most people are going to sell online, okay? When you sell online, there's shipping and there's fees. We're not going to get into taxes and all that, but shipping and fees, let's say around 15%. All right, so you're spending 15% getting out of that item. So when people say, I'm going to sell this item and move the money here, they're not doing that. They don't know what they're saying, okay? Because if this box is $300, you have a case, you have $1,800. You're not putting $1,800 into box Y, right? Into the new boxes at $90. Okay, because you have those fees. So after 15% of $1,800, you're left with, I don't know, $1,530. Quick math. $1,530 is what you're putting into the new boxes. So at that point, you have to ask yourself, do I believe these boxes are going to perform better? This $1,800 is going to make me more money, or do I believe this $1,530 in these new boxes are going to make me more money? Because remember, you're already starting behind when you do sell and move into something else. Not to mention, okay, all the transactions you have to make. You have to make the transactions of selling everything if you're going to sell by the case or the individual boxes. You have to hope that goes all well. Then you have to, the other transaction of buying. You have to go out and shop around, find a buyer, negotiate whatever you do, buy those, hope they come in well, hope all your orders ship out and go to the customers well, you don't get scammed. There's a lot of transactions that go on there that you have to hope go well, okay? So after all that, will that 1530 at the end perform better than the 1800? Okay, so let's say the 1800 in another 3 years it goes to 500, and those boxes go to 300. Okay, same amount of time. Okay, well now you got, you know, you have the 1530. You're able to buy, oh, how many is that? You have $90 a box. What is that? 17. Yep. Correct me if I'm wrong. 17 boxes. 1530 buys you 17 boxes of new $90 boxes. So you have 17 boxes that go to $300, which is, oh man, $5,100. You have $5,100 in new boxes, but your case that you kept, okay, that went to $3,000. So obviously it was the right move to move into the new product. Okay, but again, there's a lot of other transactions and all that goes into it. So on face value, it made sense. Okay, now a lot of people say, well, Alex, I don't want to do all that work. I want to wait till things age more. So that's why I say, well, if you're waiting till that, I would wait to that $500-$600 mark, $400-$600 mark until moving out, because the new boxes are going to appreciate a lot faster than the boxes that you're holding at 500. Because remember, the boxes at 500. You have to erase all the gains you made before that, okay? You've made the 500 and something % gain, okay? But from now on, you have to think, okay, $500 to $1,000 box is only 100% gain. That 500 in 5 new boxes, now less because you got to have certain transaction fees, but that 500 into 4 point something new boxes at $90, those only have to get to $180, $200 to actually outperform those boxes, which is a lot more likely as we've seen in the modern age. And so, for this reason, that's why I like to cycle out a product once the boxes hit that $400, $500, $600 mark, move into new boxes at the $80, $90, $100 mark, rinse and repeat that method. Sometimes it's every 2-3 years, sometimes it takes 4, 5, 6 years. I don't know the time frame, but that is what I look for. Now, you always have to make, account for outliers. You can make your own decisions, right? Evolving Skies could be one of those ones you want to hold on to longer and surpass that $500 mark. There could be, sets that are underperformers, like say Battle Styles, that you want to get out once it hits 200 because you don't think it's going to really go much higher. You think it's going to be the Steam Siege or Crimson Invasion of this era, and it's just not going to have that much long-term growth, so you want to get out earlier, right? So you got to mix and match and make the plan work for yourself, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not every box is going to get to $400, $500, $600 in 5 years' time, and then you just do this. There's no exact formula. But those are the things that I look for. So I would stress, get out of the mindset of like having to have this perfect time frame, this 5 to 10 years, or get out of the mindset of an exact percentage gain on every single item, because every item is going to perform differently, right? And every item is going to have different life cycles, right? So some items might do poorly the first 3-4 years, and then year 5 and 6, they shoot up, 3, 4, 500%, like we saw with the tag teams. Other items are going to come out of the gate absolutely crazy. They're going to come out like One Piece Romance Dawn, and it's going to kind of go stat and then go to the moon, and it's going to make sense to get out of it within the first year. I don't know. It's whatever works best for you, but I think it makes sense to always kind of go through at least every quarter, if not that, at least every year, and make those decisions on your collectibles, on your investments, and get a good idea of, if you still have the same long-term outlook. And if you're going to sell, is calculate in all the fees and shipping and all that goes into it, and ask yourself where that amount of money left over after that would be better used, other than leaving the whole piece of the pie in the current item to grow even further. And that'll probably be your best bet going forward, is to use those parameters. So I hope that video helped. I tried to talk through it as well as I could to make it kind of digestible and make sense to everyone. If you got questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer all the comments in this video. I'm sure there'll be questions about it. And other than that, consider subscribing to the channel if you're not yet. Any of the links, guys, if you are going shopping for anything or selling anything, the links in the description and in the comment section, the eBay, the TCG Player, the PokeNE, Brian's site, those all do help support the channel. So if you are going to go shopping in any of those places, consider using the links. It really does help out. And that's all I got for you today, guys. Be back here in a new video soon. I'm out.